In 1957, a normal family in England experienced a tragedy so devastating, it permanently changed the rest of their lives. John and Florence Pollock had two young daughters, Joanna and Jacqueline. The girls were close, playful, full of energy, the kind of children who made ordinary homes feel alive. Every morning followed familiar routines: breakfast, school preparations, small conversations parents never imagine will someday become memories. And then one Sunday, everything ended. While walking to church, the two girls were struck by a car driven by a woman, reportedly experiencing severe emotional distress. Both children died instantly. The loss shattered the family. Neighbors described overwhelming grief inside the home. The silence after the funeral felt unbearable. Bedrooms remained untouched. Toys stayed where the girls had left them. And like many grieving parents, John and Florence struggled to emotionally accept that life could simply continue afterward. But what happened next is why this story still unsettles people decades later. About a year later, Florence became pregnant again. Doctors believed she was carrying one child, but when the babies were born, the couple was shocked. They were twins, two girls, named Julian and Jennifer. At first, they appeared completely normal, just two children growing inside a grieving household. But slowly, small details began disturbing the parents. Jennifer, the younger twin, had birthmarks in places strangely similar to Mark's. Jacqueline had possessed before her death. One mark reportedly appeared near the waist, another on the forehead, locations the family privately recognized immediately. Still, birthmarks alone proved nothing. People dismissed it as coincidence. But then the behavior started. As the twins grew older, they began requesting toys that had belonged to Joanna and Jacqueline. Not similar toys, the exact toys, toys hidden away after the deaths. And the girls reportedly recognized them instantly, calling them by the same names previously used by the dead sisters. The parents became deeply uncomfortable, because according to them, the twins had never been shown those items before. Then came the moments nobody in the family could explain comfortably. The twins began recognizing places they had never visited. While traveling through areas connected to the older sisters, they reportedly pointed out landmarks and locations with strange familiarity. At times, they behaved as though they remembered parts of another life. One incident especially disturbed the parents. The twins became frightened near moving cars, describing fear in ways eerily similar to the accident that killed Joanna and Jacqueline. And suddenly, the family found themselves trapped between grief, belief, and fear. Because what do you do emotionally when children begin displaying memories they should not possess? Was it coincidence? Parental projection caused by grief? Children subconsciously absorbing emotional information from adults around them? Or something far more difficult to explain? That question turned the Pollock twins into one of the most famous reincarnation cases in modern history. Psychologists studied the family. Researchers debated the evidence. Skeptics argued the parents may have unintentionally influenced the children through conversation and behavior. Others believed the similarities were too specific to ignore completely. And maybe that uncertainty is exactly why the story survives today. Because unlike fictional horror, this mystery exists inside ordinary family life. Inside grief, inside memory, inside the emotional desperation human beings feel after losing someone they love. The story forces people to confront uncomfortable questions many quietly think about but rarely discuss openly. What happens after death? Can memory somehow continue? And how much of human identity do we actually understand? As the twins grew older, many of the unusual memories reportedly faded. Life slowly became more ordinary again. But for the parents, the emotional impact never truly disappeared. Because whether the experiences had psychological explanations or something beyond current understanding, they had lived through moments impossible to forget. Moments where reality itself briefly stopped feeling stable. And maybe that is why stories like this affect people so deeply. Not because they prove anything with certainty, but because they exist in the uncomfortable space between science, emotion, and possibility. The Pollock twins remain one of the world's most debated psychological mysteries, not because of ghosts, not because of horror, but because of something much more personal. The terrifying possibility that some memories may refuse to disappear completely, even after death. History is not old. History is living inside us. One day, one event, one lesson. Mr. Feedy,